Welcome back, everybody, to Andy the Baker Show. And today's episode, I wanted to talk about the earnings of the companies that reported today. Three of them being Alphabet, Chipotle, and Reddit. Now, Alphabet is approximately 10% of my whole portfolio. And as you can see here, Alphabet has gone up a lot today. All right. And the main reason why it has gone up a lot today is because the fundamentals still show that Alphabet is a profitable company, that Alphabet is a growing company. For example, even though Alphabet is a company that has a lot of legal issues right now with the federal government, being the fears of it being broken up into many different pieces. It's a company that is growing their revenues. Like, for example, you look at the cloud revenue growing by 35%. It used to be 8 billion a year ago. Now it's around 11 billion. Right? You look not only the cloud business, which is the most important business and the most highest margin business, you look into their YouTube business. The YouTube business is growing, the ad search business, and that's the crazy part, is that the ad search business, the one that is being targeted to be broken up, that one growing organically year over year is just wild, wild to me. And as a result, I think more and more investors can finally see that Alphabet is a company that, although it has its legal issues, although they have this issue of spending, they are still a company that is able to increase their revenues and profits over time. And one of the things I want to share with you is this chart right here. Now, when you look into this chart of revenue chart of Google, this is the type of charts that I just love seeing, because it's a chart that looks predictable to me, right? They just consistently increase their revenues and profits year over year. There's there's no year where it's like super well and then has big downs, big ups. It's not so volatile in their revenue charts. So that's the type of things I just really enjoy about Google and why I continue to invest in Google. Now, in terms of the Google stock, the PE ratio for this particular stock is currently 23.9. That's lower than the S&P 500. Now, although I know that a lot of the companies inside the S&P 500 are amazing, I just believe that Google is better than at least 50% of the companies that's inside the S&P 500. As a result of that, looking at this PE ratio, it makes me think that Google is at a cheap valuation, and as a result, that's why I keep on buying and buying more into this particular stock. Now, the second stock that reported today that I care a lot about is Chipotle. And Chipotle had an opposite reaction of Alphabet. All right. Alphabet went up a lot today, a big ton, but Chipotle actually went down. And it's because they missed on the revenue estimates. They were still profitable. They beat their earnings per share number, which they do have a little bit of power over because they can move some numbers. But in terms of the revenue number is part where the company doesn't have too much control over. That's what customers spend at that business. And it missing the revenue estimates, I think it kind of spooked some of the investors. Now, the Chipotle is still a profitable company, right? It's still making money. It's just the revenue estimates was not at the expectation that the analysts had set it at. Now, does this worry me? Does this make me feel like, man, I should sell out of my Chipotle stock? I actually don't think so. Now, I know a lot of people are saying that the new smoked brisket was actually a good advertising plan they had. I kind of disagree otherwise. To me, I kind of thought the smoked brisket was a little bit of a flop, and the next type of product they come out with, I think could be a better way to bring in customers. Now, a couple of key points to share in Chipotle's earning report. The same store sales per each store approximately rose around 6%. Now, that is lower than the estimate of 6.3, but I'll let them go off on that. For the full year, though, Chipotle has reiterated its outlook that the same store sales will grow by a mid to high single digit percentage. Now, I think this is the one that got investors spooked because they're thinking Chipotle is going to grow by double digits, right? 10%, 15%, 20% year over year same store sales. But and that is a little bit of a worry for me as well. But I do think that they can actually surpass this. All right, that is the thesis that I have on my end. The way I see Chipotle being able to do so, all right, is not through the current way they're doing it, but by releasing new products. Right now they have the smoked brisket, but if they bring back the chicken al pastor or a new item that is hypothetically a little bit better than the smoked brisket, then I think it could be a better hit. Now, the reason why I was not a big fan of the smoked brisket was that one of the price point. If in my local Chipotle, it's about $15 if you buy the smoked brisket, and the second is that I just thought the other meats tasted better than the smoked brisket. It was just a subjective thought process there. Now, when it comes to Chipotle, one of the things that stood out for me in Chipotle's earning report was that their food and beverage costs for the quarter increased because Chipotle started to re-emphasize generous portions. And I actually see this in my local Chipotles as well, right? After that social media fueled backlash we've had about how the burrito bowls are so small, and I used to be one of the people that used to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm not buying Chipotle stock because every time I go to Chipotle, I feel like I'm not getting a good deal." And they actually report this in their earning report that, hey, as Chipotle, we're giving the customers a lot more food, and as a result, our expenses has gone up in proportion to that. I don't know if this will continue. I hope it does because that's one of the biggest reasons why I continue loving Chipotle. That they're able to keep on being profitable, serving that much food at low costs. I am very, very happy that they can keep on doing what they're doing. My long term thesis for Chipotle, though, is that I hope the company is going to be more and more efficient and have a lower margin on the expenses. The reason why I say this is because a lot of the things they do in the kitchen, if they make it automated or robotized with, like, for example, the machine that can make avocados for you, that avocado slicer, or certain prep work that they have to do, if they can automate that with machines, that would definitely allow them to cut their expenses and increase their profit. And that's something that is a bold thesis that I have for this particular stock. Now, the one thing that did kind of surprise me, I'll be honest, I didn't think about this too much when I thought about Chipotle, is that digital sales for Chipotle accounted for 34% of the food and beverage revenue. I didn't realize that a lot more people, one third of the customers going to Chipotle was doing it through the digital app. That to me is pretty darn amazing. And I hope it keeps on growing because that makes it a lot more easier for Chipotle to keep on increasing their revenues and sales over time. Now, the last company that kind of surprised me a ton was Reddit. Reddit reported their earnings and the stock went up 22% on their forecast. All right. And here's what happened with the Reddit stock. People were actually expecting Reddit to keep on losing money, right? They haven't been profitable yet. This quarter, they reported a profitable number. That was a surprise to a lot of the investors. They reported earnings per share of 16 cents versus people were expecting a loss of 7 cents. And then in terms of the revenue grew. But what really, really surprised me the most was their daily average users. Their daily active users grew by 47% year over year in the third quarter. I didn't realize that this is a company that was growing that much. Now, I'll be honest, I used to not use Reddit, and I'm actually one of the 47% that started using Reddit this year. There's a lot of information on there that I find a lot of usefulness. I am just surprised that they found a way to profitability. That was very, very surprising. And as granted, I definitely think this 22% is very valid for the stock. With that, I'm gonna keep on doing exactly what I've been doing with my stock portfolio for the time being, which is investing more in Chipotle, investing more in Google, Costco, Microsoft. This earnings report so far hasn't surprised me too much. Everything that I kind of expected did happen. Now, if Chipotle keeps on going down and down, I'm gonna be buying more of it. This business model that Chipotle has, although right now it's going through a difficult time, I'm still very bullish on the company. I still feel like as a customer, every time I go there, I'm getting a good deal. I feel like I'm getting value every time I go there. And anytime I feel like that about a company, that comes with Costco, I feel like that. When I go to Alphabet, I feel like I'm getting a good deal. Then that's my one of the reasons why I invest in the stock. And with that, you guys, thank you so much for joining in, and I'll see you on the next episode.